Smell that, boy? No, it's not bacon. It's the Pet Project with dog's best friend, Tammy Trujillo.
Hey, that sounds like a Labrador. That's what we're talking about right now. Labrador Retrievers. We're talking with Steve from California Labrador Retrievers and More Rescue. And talking about bringing a lab into your home. What kind of home do you need? What does the situation have to be? How does that match happen between you and a Labrador? And before we hit the break, we were talking about the possibility of bringing a lab into a home that already has dogs in it. Steve, what do you think? Do most labs go for that, or is that going to be an iffy situation?
No, in general, labs are super friendly with other dogs just like they are with people. Now, as I already had said earlier, every dog has its own personality, and so some like other dogs more than others. But in general, labs have that sort of happy-go-lucky personality, and they actually enjoy being around other dogs. And I've actually, when I very first started having labs, I got two initially and raised them as puppies.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, I found it easier because then they learned how to entertain each other and play with each other, and weren't always just necessarily focused on the people. So in general, labs get along well with other dogs, and as long as you introduce them appropriately with dogs that are already in the home, then usually it works out very well.
Well, you bring up one of the biggest things. One of the things I get asked more often than anything else is, how do you do that introduction? I mean, cats, you have to do it right. Dogs, you have to do it right. And you only get a couple shots at this, maybe even only one to do it. So please give us some tips. How would you do that if you're going to bring a new dog into the household?
Well, I am no dog trainer, but I certainly had to do this on more than one occasion.
Yep.
And in general, I think the way that you do it is you start by introducing the dogs on a neutral site,
Mm-hmm.
because the dog that's already in the home doesn't want to feel threatened or feel like perhaps their place in the pack, so to speak, is being changed. So you let the dogs meet each other on neutral ground and see what they think about each other. And assuming that goes well, and usually if you have a lab, it goes really well, you give them some time to get to know each other. And then once that's taken place, then you can take them to your home so that they can kind of see what that environment is. The dog that's already living there can, have a little time to see about this intruder that, I guess, for lack of a better term, that potentially is coming into their home.
Mm-hmm.
And the new dog that you're considering adopting gets to see the other dog in his or her own environment and kind of let them kind of see what the pecking order of the pack, so to speak, is. And once you've done that, then you just have to deal with things like how to share food and water, how to share toys, share affection. If you've already got a dog and that dog is really used to your being with them all the time, then it might take them a little time to adjust to having somebody else who's fighting for your affection.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take those kinds of things into account, both for the dog that you already have and also for the new dog that you're trying to bring in.
So basically, a little empathy goes a long way here in trying to figure out how this looks to each one of the dogs.
Yes, exactly.
How many labs do you have up for adoption right now? Tell us about your rescue.
Well, our rescue, California Labradors, Retrievers, and More, our nickname is Labs and More. And we founded ourselves just under a year ago, the end of March last year. Since that time, we have rescued almost 500 dogs.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we've had a busy year. Unfortunately, with the economy, the way things are economically, there have been a lot of dogs in need, people losing their homes, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of dogs in shelters, and so we've done as much as we can. Right now, we have approximately 50, and the reason I say approximately is because it changes on a daily basis.
Sure.
Like right before I got on with you guys, we had an adoption event.
Yay.
And had some dogs adopted. We've also got some new dogs and some puppies coming in, so it's hard to give the exact number, but right now we have approximately 50.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is interested in adopting from us, they can go to our website, which is just labsandmore.org, and they click on the homepage and click on the dogs, and there they all are. You can see their photos and read on their bios, and then if you're interested, then you just fill out the form that's on our website once you click the Adopt tab, and it gets emailed to us, and we go from there.
What areas do you serve right now, Steve?
Well, that's an interesting question. Our volunteer base is in San Diego and Orange County both. We actually also have a few people that are in the Inland Empire, and I actually also cover Imperial County.
Okay.
So we cover a large chunk of Southern California. I would say the bulk of our dogs come from the Inland Empire just because that's a place where there's a great need. Unfortunately, in San Diego, there are other rescues, and so there are not as many dogs in need, although we certainly take some from here. We get some from L.A., just as you would expect, a big area like L.A., just because there's so many people and so many dogs. Even though they have a lot of rescues, they sometimes need help as well. But for the most part, I would say San Diego and the Inland Empire are where we would get the majority of our dogs at this point in time.
Okay, Steve, thank you so much for joining us. You can go to Steve's website, labsandmore.org. Labs and More is also on Facebook, and there's a link on our Facebook page right now, Tammy Trujillo's Pet Project. Steve, 500 dogs in about 15 months. You've done great work so far. You keep it up, please.
All right, and thanks very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today.
Absolutely. We enjoyed having you. Okay, coming up, you got pampered pets in your house? Well, who doesn't? We got the Pampered Pets catalog lady. Come on up. We're going to talk about some crazy, nutty, wonderful items that you are going to want to get.
Come to Yountville, California, in the heart of the